your company. And most important for me, and maybe for you also, is what is digital transformation in a pragmatic way. So it is like a buzzword, but like we want to try this afternoon to make it a little bit more practical and pragmatic for you, how we approach digital transformation, how we can support your company to transform digitally. So we are talking about some challenges customers experience through this presentation, and the solutions we as HSO created to support you in this digital transformation. First of all, what are these challenges? And these challenges are a little bit summarized from discussions we had with customers in 4 topics. The first of these topics is transform. So what is transformation? It is reinventing your business processes. I will explain this a little bit more in one of the next slides. It is about personal productivity, but questions we are getting from customers about digital transformation is, okay, this is very nice, but how do we deal with legacy? We now have a legacy application environment, legacy IT infrastructure, and we can start with a full new application landscape. So how do we deal with it with this legacy application landscape? Other questions from customers are more around, we have a lot of data available, but how do we create information from that data, from that customer data, from production data, from sales data, from whatever data, and how can we develop new services for our customers, to engage with our customers, or to engage internally, or to engage with suppliers. So digital transformation, the question is from customers to us, make it a little bit more pragmatic and practical for us as a company, and hopefully we will support you through this presentation in the way we are approaching this. A second topic is global, or let's say support. Digital transformation means that you're using more digital technology, means in most cases that you're using a lot of cloud technology. And by the nature of cloud, it means that the support is already partly outsourced. So during this transformation, a lot of companies are redefining their sourcing strategy, thinking about sourcing what is insourced in our company, or what is already outsourced, or what do we want to outsource in the future. And that next topic we discuss with our customers is around GRIP. And we are looking to a more and more integrated application landscape based on the Microsoft applications, based on some third-party applications. And one of the scenarios in this presentation I want to go through with you is a great example of how this landscape is integrated, and that you need a partner who can give you the full support over this landscape, instead of having several partners for several parts of this landscape. And last but not least, and this is a relative new topic, is compliancy. Customers are talking with us about compliancy with regard to cloud applications, to data in cloud, to international regulations, to etc. And I think that there are 2 topics mainly who drive this topic we discuss with customers. The first is the nature of cloud applications. So cloud applications are accessible from any device, anytime, anywhere. That means that security gets a new dimension in digital transformation. And secondly, we have, since the 1st of January 2016, data protection regulations in the EU, which are also applicable for all companies in the EU. And from the 1st of May next year, we have the general data protection regulations, which are more strengthened requirements to data protection. And these regulations cause that companies think about, how can we be compliant to these regulations and take care of our data, take care of our customer data. And another one, which is what we see in the market, is due to these topics, a lot of CEOs believe that a clear concept of digital technology, a clear strategy in digital technology is the key to be competitive in the future. And one of the questions, of course, is how future-proof is your company, and we want to support you into being future-proof with the newest technology to engage with your customers and engage with your employees, engage with suppliers. Another important topic we see in the market is what are the main top business priorities. Of course, customer engagement is one, but also growth, cost, and innovation. And summarized, these 5 top business priorities mean that customers believe that they need new technology to be agile, to be flexible, to be able to support their growth with new technology, to be able to get new ways to engage with customers and to innovate very rapidly to create new services for the customers. So these business priorities lead to digital transformation as well. But what is it actually? I think that's a good question. As already mentioned, it is a little bit of a buzzword currently, but I think that we have clear answers on what digital transformation could mean for your company and what it is. It is engaging with your customers in a new way. So improve the way you engage with your customers via portals, via apps, via inside information, via proactively communicating with your customers. It is about empowering your employees, so increase their productivity, increase their efficiency, give them more tools to be able to support your customers and do their job day to day. And it is around about optimize your operations. So your logistics, production operations, other transport operations. We have a lot of examples available in which operations are optimized with the use of new technology in a way of digital transformation. And last but not least, transform your products, and not only products but also services. So how can we optimize our products or services, or create new services or products to our customers to be able to serve them better and get better with them engaged, get new customers, create new markets, etc. So digital transformation means in all ways, in all these 4 topics, be able to use new technology to create a new way of doing business with your customers, getting the most out of this technology for your company specific. And maybe it's good to explain a little bit more about the market view, not only from Microsoft or from other vendors, but specifically in this case from Gartner. So Gartner created a few years ago a new view on the market, a new view on application layering in a company, and that's the way Microsoft built, and other vendors in some cases did also. Created a new application landscape to be able to support you in your digital transformation. This base-layered strategy means, and I will try to explain it to you, that the way we did it in a lot of cases in the past, building a very large ERP systems with all processes covered and captured in that one ERP with add-ons, with customizations, with etc., is not the best way for the future to be agile, to be able to transform rapidly on some specific parts of the business. So what the new way of working is, and what the approach for the future will be, is create a new base-layered application landscape in which ERP is, let's say, an engine, a transactional engine. All transactional data, which is very important for your company, will be covered and captured in ERP. But ERP is not by nature the application to serve, for example, field service functions, or CRM sales functions, or marketing functions, or other ways you want to engage with your customer. So there is a new layer created, which is the systems of engagements. Let's say your customer engagement layer, your supplier engagement layer, or maybe your employee engagement layer. The way you cooperate and collaborate with the field around your company day to day. And in this field we see project services, marketing services, document management, other ways of collaborating and creating options to engage with other people, other companies. This field, instead of ERP, which is a choice for, let's say, 5 to 10 years, this field you want to move more rapidly as 5 to 10 years. Maybe you want to change an application, or you want to improve services, or you want to improve engagement with the customer in 2 or 3 years based on the technology which is available. And that means that in this landscape, these applications, these functions are of course fully integrated with ERP, but available as separate functions, separate applications, to use for specific roles and functions in your landscape. And the last and final layer is systems of intelligence, in which are other functions captured for a very short term, short cycles. For example, IoT, Internet of Things, and in my example scenario I will go through Internet of Things, but Internet of Things is improving rapidly. The technology is developed day by day, so there are increasing functions on Internet of Things. That means that when you have created a service based on IoT, and there are a lot of examples available, but if you have developed a service based on Internet of Things, you can add new services based on new technology, which is available in 2 months, or in 5 months, or in 6 months. Power BI, another example. If you use Power BI as a dashboard for every manager in your company, he wants to change his dashboard maybe week by week or month by month, and it must be possible without a lot of investment to change this dashboard for his personal situation, for his personal workflow, for his personal information he wants to have in his role. So it is important in this visual that you understand that the way we did it in a lot of cases in the past, building it all in the engine, is not the way to be agile for the future. And it is important to create this space-layered landscape in your company to be very agile and very flexible in your business in the way you engage with your customers and suppliers. And Microsoft has created an integrated landscape in an intelligent cloud in which all these possibilities, this space-layered landscape, covering and capturing processes in different applications, integrations in the background, integrations on the application level, are possible for you as a customer and are available for you as a customer and are available for us as a partner to create integrated solutions on this platform. And we are, as an HSO, as a Microsoft partner, using this full landscape as our toolbox, and I will go through some examples with you to give you an idea and a perspective of how we're using this toolbox to create solutions for customers. So what we have seen in every project, there are 3 streams, let's say. First of all, there is, of course, which is in the middle and very important, a business process stream. But there's also a business productivity and intelligence stream. And there's always a technical stream. And these streams have to be very connected to each other. So if we create solutions for you, for your industry, for your company, we have to connect these 3 streams together to create a very optimized solution for your role, for your function. And that's why we call this approach connected work, your personal workplace. Connected work is the way we are connecting these 3 layers of Microsoft Cloud functions to create the best and optimized solutions for your company. And we are doing this, as said, in integrated solution. We are delivering projects over these three streams, which also means that of course, in the productivity layer is Office 365. We are well experienced on SharePoint, on Exchange Online. We have full knowledge, of course, from our nature of Dynamics 365, all platforms. And in the technical layer, we have a lot of Azure services available to use in solutions for your company, for your industry. And we have the knowledge of all these services to use them in your solutions. And we are acting as a single point of contact over in connected work, which means that HSO is responsible and accountable as a single point of contact for the solutions we are creating on this toolbox of Microsoft. And let me give you an example, and I think this is a nice example to understand what connected means, what connected over these applications, over these layers exactly mean. I have created an example based on connected field service. So a field service example, but we can try a lot of other examples, and I think we can find in your business a lot of other examples, but this example gives you an overview of the services which are used in a business process in a specific scenario based on the Microsoft Cloud Stack. So what is going on in this situation? It is a field service engineer, field service scenario, and they are maintaining air conditioning. So at the customer side, an air conditioning unit is freezing. There's a failure going on. When an air conditioning unit is freezing, the air conditioning will stop with properly working, and so there's no cooling capacity anymore, which can be dangerous in case of, for example, a data center scenario. This is a Microsoft Azure service in the IoT suite. So the IoT suite, one of the Azure services, is used to get information from the air conditioning to the field service company, which is using this information for the next steps. So the next step is that there is a trend analysis created, automated by also a Microsoft Azure service, machine learning. And this service is analyzing, let's say, the trend of the message, which means that is there currently a problem, or is it still a little bit more and more freezing, and can we wait until tomorrow morning because it's now evening, it's close to the night, and maybe it's not the best time to call the customer and ask access to his building. But in this case, there is immediate action needed, so there's an incident going on, the air conditioning will stop working within an hour. That's what the trend analysis is reporting to us. The next step is that automatically a responsible engineer is planned in Microsoft Dynamics 365. So in the field service area of Microsoft Dynamics 365, we know which engineers are available, we know the planning of these, the scheduling of these engineers, we know, the system knows, not we, but the system knows which engineer now at this point in time is responsible for follow-up on this message from the customer's air conditioning. Until now, there's no, let's say, manual work in this process. It's all an automated process. Next component which is used in this process is that an automatic phone call or an alarm is going off at the field and on the field service engineer's device. This is again a Microsoft Azure service, which is the Microsoft Azure Notification Hub. And the Notification Hub creates, based on IoT messages, based on events at customer sites, is able to create an alarm, device independent. That could be on an iPhone, on an Android device, on a Windows device, but his alarm is going off to wake him up maybe, or to get him alarmed to serve the customer in this specific case. Then he will go in his car maybe, or in another way will drive to the customer site, and he will check manuals at the portal or work instructions. So this is information which is covered and stored on SharePoint, but is fully integrated with this specific customer in his app, which he has, which the field service engineer has available on his mobile device. So using his mobile device, using his single app for field service, he's able to see information from SharePoint, information he will need to solve the problem at the customer side. And at the same moment, the inventory of what he could need probably or will have in his car for stuff to repair the air conditioning unit is checked, and a work order will be registered. And that's covered by the Dynamics 365, of course. Sorry. The next step in the process, when he solved the issue, so he did his job at the customer side, the customer will receive an email confirmation with a URL in the email, and when he clicks, and the customer will click on the URL, he will go to the customer portal based on Dynamics 365, and in that customer portal he will have an overview of the service history, so what is actually done to solve his issue, and included with a satisfaction survey to get information from the customer back, which is stored in Dynamics 365, and to give you information on what the customer's thoughts are about the action which is executed by the engineer. And last but not least, on Power BI, which is a part of the SaaS services, software as a service layer in the productivity and intelligence stream, will give you an overview of the billable hours and profitability, and an invoice will be sent to the customer based on Dynamics 365 for operations. So in this example, and that's what I want to show you, in this example, we have used a lot of services from the Microsoft Cloud. Not only Dynamics 365 services, they are very, very important, but also Office 365 Exchange Online for mail capabilities. Office 365 SharePoint Online for document management, Power BI, Microsoft Azure services to create a connected solution for this specific role, for this specific person as a field service engineer to do his job as most efficient as he could do, and create a very satisfied customer. That's what we have done in the last few slides. So what does that mean for HSO as a company? I think that's important to have an understanding of HSO as a company. What's our proposition based on this landscape? Our proposition is that we are delivering projects, international, global, ERP and CRM projects, integrated with the cloud infrastructure, Azure and workplace solutions, in which workplace not literally does mean a desktop solution, but also can be a mobile device, a laptop, and a web browser, or any place you can access your data and your applications. We are delivering projects, we're delivering customer service solutions, migrations and managed services, support services, and we have our own ISV solutions to create these role-based solution for you as a customer based on, in this example, field service. So it is, instead of what it was in the past, anytime, anywhere, and on any device. As a cloud solution provider, it's very important to reach these objectives in our solutions, to create solutions based on these three topics. And then let's move to, we had a lot of examples, so we have had some examples now. we had our proposition, but let's move to the more pragmatic way. We as HSO want Okay, I hear my sound is gone. Is it back again, Debbie? That's very important. You're back, all right. I'm sorry. So cloud transition services is the way we support our customers in a project approach and managed services approach to realize digital transformation in your company. And that's not only about your, let's say, the front end of the company, which means your application layer and the layer end users use by Office 365, by Power BI, by etc. We are also taking care of the IT backend environment. I will give you some examples in the next few slides. The server environment, the database environment, your production automation, your etc. So we are supporting you from on-premise in a migration from on-premise to online in your pace, global as well as local. I think both are important. And in global acting companies, we see a lot of issues sometimes to get all information on all entities about local IT. How could we transform local IT? How could we support, how can we support local entities with their IT, with their digital transformation? How can we centralize information in our application landscape? That's our day-to-day job, and HSO is fully capable to support you in that global or local approach. But with a strong focus on business processes, I think that's important. What we see in the market that there are two types of partners available, the more traditional system integrators and the application service providers from the past, from which is HSO one of them, and the application software providers, application solution providers like HSO are focusing on business processes and using the new technology to create from a perspective of a business process the best solution for your company. I think that's very important in choosing a partner instead of choosing for a technical partner with a technical approach, which can be technical very good, but in which you in the end not realize a real digital transformation. How we develop this approach based on 6 steps, starting with the analysis phase, in 6 steps to ready in cloud, so a cloud transition service. And I will go through all the 6 steps with some examples of what we do in that specific stage of digital transformation. First, in the analysis phase, we are analyzing what your current application landscape is. That's a very important step to find out what processes you have, but also which application you use for all these processes and how we can migrate in the future. And that's why we have to know this. Are there technical prerequisites or maybe process prerequisites or other prerequisites we have to take care of in a migration project? So we have to know what your technical IT environment is, as well as, for example, connectivity, security, or other topics which are important in this in the future migration process. Another thing which is very important for us to understand which users you have in your company, how they use and access IT applications, which devices are they using, and what does that specifically mean for you for the way we develop your new IT application landscape, and for the way, for example, we handle with security. We embed and implement security in a new solution in the new IT application landscape. Then what we want to have very clear, and that we are going through this process in the analyzing process, as well as in the business requirement part of the process, we want to have very clear on these three streams: business, process, productivity, and the technical domains, what your current situation is and what the need is in the future. And we're using workshops and interviews with business owners to get and extract the information from your company to realize a very clear, let's say, dream for the future. What's your dream over 3 years? What do you want to realize as a company in digital transformation? What is your digital transformation end goal? And it's very important in this workshop that we not talk about the current situation only and about the issues you have currently with applications or technical issues or other issues, but try to forget the current issues and create a dream, outline the dream with the most optimized business processes in the future, as well as new services you want to realize and in which services you want to engage or sell to your customers in a few years. And we are doing this by using note blocks, by using Visio, by using other tools to create a very clear overview of all your processes right now, but also the processes in the future. So that's in the next step. Let's oversee the horizon. What's your horizon over 3 years, and how do we reinvent processes? And a honest question could be, does cloud support your business? So we have seen a lot of situation. Yesterday, I was at a customer site discussing digital transformation, and this customer had some functions who can be migrated to cloud, and these functions will realize more efficiency, more productivity for his employees. But this customer also had a lot of on-premise IT, which was directly connected to on-premise machines, for example. So cloud must not be the goal, but cloud is not always the solution for all applications, for all tools, for all functions in your environment to migrate to. So it's very important to have your functional requirements, as already mentioned in the previous slide, functional requirements, your business process requirements on a dream level. What could be the dream in 3 years? And in this stage we are discussing your sourcing strategy. As already mentioned, it's very important in a cloud and transition scenario that you discuss with your internal employees, with your internal IT personnel, as well with us as a partner, what your sourcing strategy will be for the future. By the nature of cloud applications are more or less managed on a technical layer by the vendor, for example, or by HSO as a partner. To give you an example on what we did with a customer is this visual created. What we did to realize a full view on his dream, on his digital transformation dream in 3 years, is that we had workshops about these several topics: sales and marketing, projects and engineering, production, service and maintenance, but also on communication and collaboration. How do you communicate and collaborate together with your customers, but also with your employees internal, with your suppliers, and how do you want to improve that communication and collaboration? So we're talking about users, access and devices. Which users do you have? How do they access IT? And what does that mean for the way you want to deploy IT applications to your users, or maybe to your customers as well? We are discussing application integration, which is very important in a scenario that you move to cloud. You will have a hybrid environment. Hybrid means for a time you will have, for some years maybe, or depending on your on-premise applications and their prerequisites, it could be that you have a hybrid environment forever, partly online, partly on-premise. So it's very important to understand the application integration maybe you have some process automation. What is that actually? And last but not least, we are discussing with, on management level, on board level, some very important topics about data protection. What is data protection for your company? What is your gold mine as a company? And how do you want to protect that gold mine? Are we talking about business continuity? What are your requirements to business continuity? What would be your recovery time? What do you want to have for recovery time instead of services which are not available anymore? Or what do you accept, for example, with regard to data loss instead of downtime? And what is your sourcing strategy? We have to discuss it in some other topics as well, but from a board perspective, what would be your sourcing strategy for the future? So all this extracted information together gives us as a partner a very good overview of the way we have to transition to cloud, of the way we have to digital transform with you, how we can support, your digital transformation in your specific business. And that means that we are able to create a design to discuss. And this design to discuss contains the first view on a TCO for the future. So what would be your upfront investment, maybe stage by stage, and what would be your operational expenses month by month? What is the revenue? What's the revenue from a business perspective and from a functional perspective, from a productivity perspective? And after these workshops, we have a first view on the migration impact. So which migration scenario is the best for your company to realize digital transformation in some sub-projects after each other? And therefore, we created this, again, an example from a customer in which we visualized the sub-projects we defined in this design to discuss. First of all, for this customer, he had some issues with local storage, so technical issues with the growth of data, with the warranty of his local storage. So the local storage was really old, and he needs some new solutions for local storage for file data. He had a very old Exchange environment, which is a technical reason, but before doing other things, before realizing from a business process perspective a new application layer, it was very important for them to create a new base of technology to implement on in the future. So the first steps were create some cloud infrastructure solutions, for example, Azure Active Directory, enterprise mobility, which is in which a part is a mobile device management solution to be able to be sure that all data and applications in the future which are will be made accessible for mobile devices are secure and data is secure on that devices. And the next step was to implement Office 365, moving Exchange to online. But a very important part of this project is SharePoint Online. So create a SharePoint Online environment and move all file data and other data to a new SharePoint-based site structure based on projects, based on teams, based on the groups, based on the new way of collaboration we defined together in the workshops. So this was the first step. Let's say the basics for further implementations of new functions in cloud. Then the next step was to implement Power BI for two reasons. First, to be a glue between the on-premise environment in the future, which is, let's say, step by step moved to an online environment. But you need at some point a full dashboard of all information from the finance information which will be in your on-premise environment, but also some of parts of finance information or other operations information or sales information will be in the online environment. Therefore, you need a glue to get a full centralized dashboard for your managers, which is Power BI. Then we moved some BI customizations they created in their ERP environment, which was in this case AX 2009, Dynamics AX 2009, moving them to Power BI. Another step was that they moved their CRM functions from AX 2009, so their ERP environment, to Dynamics 365 for sales. So this is another example in which the base layered strategy of Microsoft is visible, in which we are moving customizations and other parts which are not finance or operations from ERP to other application layers around ERP. Next step is move some customizations to a construction applications, and then move service management applications from ERP to Dynamics 365 for operations. And what you now see in this visual, and that's very nice to see, is an empty box of operations and finance, a clear view on only operations and finance in ERP AX 2009, without the customizations and other add-ons the customer added in the past on this box. They are all moved to other applications in the landscape. And last but not least, we moved operations and finance to Dynamics 365 for operations online. Other applications in this platform, their on-premise environment will remain on-premise. So we moved a lot of functions to Microsoft Online to be able to support a digital transformation, to be able to create field service solutions or sales solutions or project service solutions like the scenario I already presented to you. And this is a program for 2 years in this example, but it could for your company mean 1 year or maybe 3 years. That's depending on the speed you want to have in this process. And we as HSO, and I think that's important again, are responsible and accountable for this application landscape, for integrated support, for integrated solutions. And let's walk through the other steps very briefly. After this high-level visual, after creating a program with sub-projects to realize your digital transformation, we are going to a more detailed design, an agreement, a phased migration in your pace, and finally ready in cloud or in a hybrid environment, of course. So these steps, these 6 steps are the steps to support you in your digital transformation. And after and also during this process, you need some support from a partner who's capable to offer you a single point of contact support, as we developed in our HSO Managed Services businesses. We have a lot of teams in our local entities in the UK, as well as in the Netherlands, as well as in Germany, as well as in US and Asia available to deliver managed services to your company. For global acting companies, we have HSO Global Managed Services, which is a management layer and a 24/7 service desk available to deliver our services with the use of some local managed services to global acting companies. And that's what we have to discuss during this process. What is your sourcing strategy, and how can we support you by delivering managed services and delivering application support to realize your digital transformation dream? So this was my presentation for today in this webinar. Hopefully I created some clarity about the way we approach the digital transformation, how we support you during this process. in a pragmatic way. The approach we have chosen as HSO to make digital transformation not only a buzzword anymore, but a very pragmatic approach for your company. If you have any questions, please add them in the chat function, and I will try to get an answer for you.
No, there doesn't seem to be any questions at the moment, Peter. I'm sure there will be afterwards when everybody absorbs all that information. So thank you very much, Peter.
Thank you.
Well, thank you everybody for joining us today. There's Peter's email address. You can also email any questions or information that you need to me, Debbie Perry, so dperry@hso.com. We'll be in touch afterwards anyway, just to make sure that you've got all the information that you need. So enjoy the rest of your day. Thank you very much for joining us. Bye for now.
Thank you. Bye.